Right, continuing to crack on with the little jobs. It's the time of the tiller and the rudder. I should, if I can master video editing all right, be able to edit into this a look of how they were all in one piece. They're pretty hefty pieces of wood, unsurprisingly, attached by a metal bracket at the top, which for some reason allows the tiller to pivot up and down, although in practice it's trapped underneath what's called the horse, which is a metal frame at the back. So I'm not entirely sure why it's been done that way, probably just to allow a little bit of leeway in the movement of it. I then separated them out into their constituent parts. Now, the tiller, unfortunately, was rotten. It doesn't look like both parts are original because they had a extra bit of plywood on each side of the tiller to make it fit into the metal mounting point for the rudder. So one or the other has been changed, but having taken it to somebody who knows more about wood than I do, which is, not very much, he's very kindly going to sort me out with a replacement. So I've left that with him, and I'll do a post when that's back, or when I can go and pick it up. Which then leaves us with this bad boy to treat. And here is the rudder in all its glory. It is two hefty pieces of wood. The bottom part, you can see, is joined onto or spliced into the top part. And I would ideally like to get these ones out to tart them up, much as the other ones have been tarted up. I'm not entirely sure whether it's possible or not. These holes, I imagine, are where they've sort of filled in the fixing holes, but we shall know a bit more later. Now, I had an initial play, excuse me while I turn this one-handed, just to take off this white paint with a hand sander. And again, you can see this lovely wood underneath, and it's really solid. It's really, really solid wood, and it's in great condition. But again, it needs a tart up. The sander over here has done not much more other than strip off a load of varnish. I'm entirely sure what's in there. So I didn't really fancy hours and hours of sanding. So I have defected to the easy side of the force. And where is it? There it is. Bought myself some bog standard paint strip, varnish stripper. And I'm going to just try it on one bit of the top half, one bit of the bottom half, and see how we go. So here we go. Again, I failed miserably to read the instructions. I presume it's going to sort of flow out or be mushed out into an appropriate area. Probably time to read the instructions. Generous coat. So I'll need a brush then. To be honest, saying a generous coat isn't particularly helpful, but we'll just see how we go. We sort of cover it off like that. And the same down here. I cannot tell if that's going to be too thick or too thin. At £8 for half a litre, it's not going to break the bank as long as it does the job. So I might thin this bit out a little bit more. So with that done, yeah, I kind of skipped past the apply it to a small area, basically applying it to the whole of one side, I suppose. It does seem to go quite a long way. So with that done, I'm going to leave that and leave that and come back in, I don't know, because I didn't read the instructions. Approximately 1 hour, and apply a second coat. Okay, so I'll leave it for approximately 1 hour and then I'll apply a second coat. It's been about an hour. A little bit of sort of movement down here. Some of this paint seems to be thinking about coming off. Up here it's kind of harder to tell because of the thickness of the varnish, but it looks from the colour and consistency of that like it's definitely doing something. So I will apply the recommended second coat and see if it will be a bit more proactive for the second hour. Right, so the paint stripper varnish remover's had a while, and you can see I'm a bit of an impatient chap, so I've had a little scrape already. The next step is to then clear off some of this excess and then give it a going over with, well, I've got this, which is a I don't know, window scraper, I guess. But, oh, it's all right. I suppose it's doing the job. It's working out relatively well. I just don't want to take large gouges out of the wood by accident, but that seems to be doing okay. There is quite a clear delineation between the area that I've treated and the area that I haven't. You'll see that if I run it over an area that I haven't treated, it doesn't really do anything. But the area that I've treated, it's coming up pretty well, and all it should really leave should be sandable. Meanwhile, up on the bit that was just varnished, just clean that a bit better. On the bit that was varnished, you can kind of tell that the varnish is coming off relatively nicely. I think it's probably a different wood. I don't know. I don't know enough about wood to know, to be able to tell. But I think it should take it down. You can kind of see all this cruddy gunk. It should take it back to the bare wood, and then a light sanding should finish off the last bit. So I think we can say it definitely works better on the varnished area as opposed to the painted area, but it's not too bad. Let's give that a little wipe down. We can have a feel of the wood. It's still quite wet and oily, but I think we've found a winner. So I'm going to clear up all this rubbish, give it a bit more of a scrape with a slightly more solid scraper, which I've got somewhere. I think I'm also going to invest in some big rolls of green disposable paper toweling before I demolish every single one of the drying up cloths, sorry. So, till the next time, we'll leave the rudder as it is, and I'll show you the results when I've finished the varnish removing, paint stripping and sanding. And after a lot of varnish removing, paint stripping and sanding, there she is. I haven't quite finished off this side yet, but if I can turn her over, that is one very hefty piece of wood. And there she is. You know what? I'm pretty pleased with that. Turned out really rather nicely.